What's good, everybody? It's the Cloud with Cab Show. NFL Week 11. Yes, it's already Week 11. It's crazy, right? The season is flying by. My Indianapolis Colts are having a bye week, but this week, really some interesting matchups. The Monday Night Football game, the rematch from last year's Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs versus Philly. I love it, but let's start off with the Bucs versus the 49ers. 49ers had some games where they really looked suspect, but right now they're starting to get back in the win column, and it starts with Brock Purdy. And I think the 49ers right now are the most well-rounded team from offense to the defensive end. I mean, they have so many stars on defense where they're going to put pressure on you every single week. That's what the 49ers do. My thing is with San Francisco is how far can they go in the playoffs? I know they can beat the Dallas Cowboys. Who can they beat? Can they beat Philly in Philly? That's a huge question. Obviously, they lost to him last year. Brock Purdy did get hurt that game, but I think overall the 49ers are built for this season's postseason. I think they're built for the playoffs. I think they're built to make a deep run. I feel like they're built to go to the Super Bowl. I really do. I mean, they have so many stars on that team, and Brock Purdy, when he's playing nice, he can really get going. And this year's got 15 tutties, 5 picks, and then you got Christian McCaffrey, the best running back in the league with 9 tutties, 747 yards rushing. Then you got Debo, you got Kittle. There's so many stars on San Francisco where it's like they're helping Brock Purdy. Now, Brock Purdy was on a terrible team like, per se, the Carolina Panthers, then, really he would look worse than what he does. I mean, he's around so many studs right now. So I think for the 49ers, I love them to beat the Bucs. They're playing at home. 11.5 is the spread. I would go money line. I think that spread's way too much. I just think Mike Evans, he's that receiver where he's going to put up great numbers day in and day out. Week in and week out, every single week, Mike Evans is going to put up over 80 yards receiving, at least a tutty. That's what Mike Evans does. I mean, 6 touchdowns this year, over 700 yards receiving. And Baker really's not having a bad year. Over 2,100 yards passing with 14 tutties and only 5 picks. And I think the Bucs, they're built to go against big teams like this. But, I'm going to go San Francisco. I'm going to go money line San Fran. I think the Bucs really put up a good game here. I do. I think a lot of people are overlooking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This year, they surprised a lot of people, including myself. I didn't think they'd be this good right now. I thought for sure they'd be way under 500, on the bottom of their division, but they're not. And really, Baker is staying disciplined, staying on his P's and Q's right now, dialing up with Mike Evans. But I think San Francisco's going to win this game, playing at home, on a Sunday football game. Dude, I love it, man. I just go in San Francisco, and I'm guaranteeing you right now that Christian McCaffrey will get a touchdown. I just can't believe the coaches didn't feed him last week. I understand you guys were killing him, but still, dude, 17 consecutive games with a touchdown. Shout out to Christian McCaffrey, man, a freaking dog, a legend, dude. He's a legend in the making. Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. I like the 49ers. 41.5 is the over-under. Probably lean more towards the over, but I definitely love San Francisco at home over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. Browns are 1-point favorites, but I'm going Pittsburgh here. Deshaun Watson, he's out. He's on IR, shoulder injury. And look at Deshaun. He got the guaranteed money, over 200 M's. Human nature says, I don't want to go to work anymore. I don't want to get up early in the mornings and grind out, week by week, for a long time. Deshaun Watson, he's sitting back right now thinking, hey, I'm still collecting that check. Every single week it's hit my check. Every single month, first of the month, it's hit my bank account. That's all that matters, really. It's just human nature. I mean, if I'm Deshaun Watson and I'm hurt this year, I'm really thinking, hey, I'm still getting paid. I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping at all. So Deshaun got his own. Amari Cooper, 2 touchdowns this year, over 700 yards receiving. I think Amari Cooper, this is a game where he's got to show out here. This is a game where he's got to separate himself from the other people and say, hey, I want to take over the game right now. Throw me the ball. And Thompson Robinson, he's from UCLA. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to be dialed in. And if I'm Thompson Robinson, I'm saying, hey, go to Amari Cooper. We need Amari Cooper, 10-plus receptions this game. A huge game for Amari Cooper in the making. But I'm still going Pittsburgh. I'm going Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett, 1,616 yards passing with 6 tutties and 4 picks. Najee Harris is starting to get back to the old Najee right now. Playing nice, 3 tutties, George Pickens, he's got 3 touchdowns, and I look for George Pickens this game. This is a must start for fantasy. If you got George Pickens on your fantasy squad, I would definitely start him. This is a game where he's got to show out. This is a game where, hey, we're playing in Cleveland, a banged-up team who's dealt with injuries all year. Let's run these guys over. This is a game where Pittsburgh needs to win here, obviously. So I'm going Pittsburgh over Cleveland. 32.5 is the over-under. So low, but you know what? I mean, it's so low. It really is, and they're expecting this to be like a 10-7 game, which sounds ridiculous, but I'm going to go with the under. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I really do. I do expect Najee Harris and Amari Cooper to ball out. Both of my fantasy squads, I want them to go all out. I'm going Pittsburgh over the Cleveland Browns. Take off Pittsburgh. Let's go! And then we got the Arizona Cardinals versus the Houston Texans. Texans are 4.5-point favorites, which they should be. But I think this game is going to come down to the wire. Kyler Murray is back. He made a debut last weekend after missing 11 months. 249 yards passing for Kyler. Then you got Marquise Brown with 4 touchdowns. Look to see him get a lot of touches this game. But C.J. Stroud, arguably a rookie quarterback right now, arguably playing the best season of all quarterbacks right now. 2,626 yards passing with 15 touchdowns, only 2 picks. And C.J. Stroud looking like a veteran quarterback right now. He's dialed in. He's locked in. And I'm telling you, dude, they look nice. They really do. I mean, to bet against the Texans right now would be silly. So I'm going to go Texans. The way they're playing, the way C.J. Stroud is playing, Nico Collins, 4 touchdowns, 631 yards receiving. He is questionable with a calf injury. He needs to play. If he doesn't play, I can see Arizona winning this game. I mean, Kyler Murray, a must-start in fantasy leagues too. He's the guy that he's going to get a rushing touchdown and also passing touchdown. So it's going to boost your numbers up. So I would definitely 100% start Kyler Murray this game. I look for this game to be broken out. But I think the Texans, man, C.J. Stroud, like I said, he's that it factor right now. He's that guy that's dialed in. He's playing the best out of any quarterback to date right now. At the start of this season, I'm telling you, man. Shout out to C.J. Stroud. I love the Houston Texans. 48.5 is the over-under. They're expecting this to be a high-scoring game, which I could very well see that being high-scoring. But C.J. Stroud, man, I'm so impressed. I had a lot of doubts. I want to apologize to C.J. Stroud because I thought for sure he'd be a bust. I really do. I mean, 15 tutties, only 2 picks in a rookie year, coming into the league with high expectations, 2nd overall pick in the draft this year. I'm telling you, C.J. Stroud is built for this right now. Out of Ohio State, man, and really, I just didn't see much of Ohio State. I just see right now really a lot of maturity, a lot of poise, a lot of discipline in the pocket. So, shout out to C.J. Stroud. I love the Texans. The over-under is such a 50-50. Probably lean more towards the under, but I love the Houston Texans at home over the Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be an epic matchup. And then we got the Tennessee Titans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars are 7-point favorites. I'm going Jags here. I look for a bounce-back game. They got blown out last weekend at home against the 49ers, and I understand I had the upset game. I was way off on that. But I look for a bounce-back game from Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence did not play great last weekend, just looked really terrible. And I look for a game where he's going to, throw for 3 or 4 touchdown passes this game. Over 2,120 yards passing for Trevor, 9 tutties, 6 picks. ETN's got 7 touchdowns. Christian Kirk, 3 touchdowns, over 600 yards receiving. So I look for Christian Kirk and ETN to get in the game flow, really the first and second quarter, and just going all in right now. Running all over the Tennessee Titans. Titans are okay. Will Levis, rookie quarterback, 4 tutties. 2 interceptions, did not look too great last weekend, but he's still a rookie. Still learning the playbook, learning different formations, learning different coverages. There's going to be some time there. Derrick Henry, just 4 touchdowns. Last year, Derrick Henry had a beast year. This year is really inconsistent for Derrick Henry. That's why I didn't draft him in fantasy. I thought, I think he's on his last year of his contract in Tennessee. I just thought, man, Derrick Henry's such a great talent on a shitty team, really. Tennessee Titans aren't playoff contenders at all. And if they do make the playoffs, they're going to lose the first game like they did, I think, the last year or the year before. They lost to the Cincinnati Bengals. It's just, it sucks. It really does, dude. I'm looking at Tennessee and realizing, dude, a lot of them are just a lot of hype. It really is. Even though they do have DeAndre Hopkins, with 3 touchdowns, almost 600 yards receiving. But overall, I'm going Jacksonville at home. I look for Trevor Lawrence to have a bounce back game. I look for the whole team of Jacksonville to bounce back from last week's blowout loss. So I love the Jacksonville Jaguars. 39.5 is the over-under. Probably go with the over. I think Jacksonville's going to put up a lot of big points here. I look for Christian Kirk to ball out yet again. Such a great scoop up by me. I think I scooped him up in the 7th or 8th round. And really, Christian Kirk has been there for me every single game. You know, he's had a couple bad games here and there, but as a receiver, putting up double digits in fantasy, that's what you want. That's Christian Kirk. I love the Jacksonville Jaguars to take off. Let's go, Jacksonville, take off. And then we got the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Miami Dolphins. Miami's 13.5-point favorites, which is crazy to me. 13.5. I'm going Miami, but I'm going money line. I think 13.5 is way too much. I think O'Connell is really not a bad quarterback. Way better than Jimmy G, even though he has 2 touchdowns and 3 picks. But he has Josh Jacobs on the squad. He has Devontae Adams. So much superstar talent there. Josh Jacobs, look to get him going in the run game with 5 tutties on my fantasy squad. Such a baller. And then Devontae Adams, 659 yards receiving and 3 tutties. I mean, the Las Vegas Raiders could put up a great game against these guys. I really believe it. I just think right now, coming off a bye week, Tua and the Miami Dolphins are going to be locked in. Tua this year, 2,609 yards passing, 19 tutties, and only 7 interceptions, dude. I mean, Tua, I got him in the 9th round. I don't even know how he slipped all the way to the 9th. Really could have slipped to the 11th round, but Tua to go all the way, slip that deep in the draft, in fantasy, I'm telling you what, next year at this time during the draft, people are going to go Tua in the top 3 rounds. I'm telling you right now, Tua is not a 9th round pick, but I got him in the 9th round. Such a steal. And huge news for the Miami Dolphins. Devin Achane is coming back from IR. He's still listed as questionable for the game tomorrow. But I think right now, if Achane does play, he's a must start. I do. I think Achane is going to take over Moser eventually for that number 1 back. He had a knee sprain. He's coming back from that. So I think they should start him. You know, if Achane's ready to go, put him in. He's a rookie out of Texas A&M. He's a beast. He's fast. I'm telling you, they got so many fast athletes on Miami. You got Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, the fastest dude in NFL with over 1,000 yards receiving and 8 tutties. I'm telling you, this is the time where Miami's going to take over the AFC East and win that AFC East title. This is their time right now. This is the game where they start right here after a bye week. They're coming into the second half of their season. So I love it, man. I think Miami all day, but I'm going money line. I think 13.5 is way too much, but I love the money line. I love Miami. 46.5 is the over-under. That's tricky. I think it could go under, but I'm going to go with the over in that one. I think Tua and the Raiders put up some big numbers, but I love Miami Dolphins coming off a bye week. Take off Miami. And then we got the Dallas Cowboys versus the Carolina Panthers. Cowboys are 10.5-point favorites, which they should be. I could see an upset game. We saw the Cowboys get upset by Arizona this year earlier on in the season, but I like Dallas. I'm going to go Dallas. It'd be silly to go Carolina. Dak Prescott, over 2,400 yards passing with 17 touchdowns, 6 picks. It's your typical Dak. You know, Tony Romo 2.0. They have great regular seasons, but come when the big boys play in the playoffs, they start to shrink up. You know, their ball sacks start to get really shrunk, you know, go up their stomachs. And that's what Dak Prescott does. Under pressure, I'm not sold on Dak Prescott. The only fans that believe in Dak Prescott are the Dallas Cowboy fans. And they're so blind by the arrogance of themselves to think, hey, yeah, Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys are the future. No, you're not, dude. You're going to lose again in the playoffs. You guys are going to choke and continue to choke, you know. Just continue to choke. That's what the Dallas Cowboys do. But the Dallas Cowboys do have a legit a legit receiver, and that's CeeDee Lamb. And they should go to CeeDee Lamb every single game, 10-plus receptions every single game. I don't know why they don't do it. They started to go to CeeDee Lamb, and look, what happens when they go to their best player on the whole roster in CeeDee Lamb? You start to win games. That's what you do. And CeeDee Lamb, 4 touchdowns, 975 yards receiving. But overall, the Cowboys, they love choking, dude. They love choking on a big one. That's what they do. I mean, I'm going to take the Cowboys over the Panthers. The Panthers won 1 game. They're on a rebuilding right now with Bryce Young. Over 1,500 yards passing with 8 touchdowns and 7 picks. Adam Thielen, he's got 4 touchdowns. Great season for the vet. But I think overall I'm going Dallas here. I think Micah Parsons has a great game on defense. I think that defense is legit. But I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys here. I'm talking about a lot of prima donnas. I'm talking about a team that hasn't won since the 90s, dude. Like, what do we? Why do people love talking about the Cowboys like they're gonna do something? They're gonna continue to choke on a big one, and they're gonna continue to go over and over again. It's just like watching the same ending every single time you watch that same movie. The ending's always the same. That's the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to lose and get choked in the playoffs, and they're going to be knocked out. That's the Dallas Cowboys for you. But I like the Cowboys over the Carolina Panthers. 42.5 is the over-under. I'll probably lean more towards the under, but I love the Cowboys over the Panthers. And then we got the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 7.5-point favorites. I'm going Lions here at home. Justin Fields, 11 touchdowns, 6 picks this year. He does have DJ Moore, a superstar receiver with 5 touchdowns, 793 yards receiving. But overall, I'm going Detroit Lions. I think Jared Goff this year is having a great season, over 2,500 yards passing with 14 tutties and 5 picks. David Montgomery, over 500 yards rushing with 7 touchdowns. I look for Montgomery to get going this game. I look for him to rush over for 100 yards. David Montgomery is their number 1 overall back, and I'm telling you, when they have David Montgomery in the lineup, the Lions do great. They really do, and they have St. Brown, 821 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. I love the Lions in this matchup. Such a classic rivalry, but overall, I'm going Lions. Why? Because they're the better team. Because last week they showed me that the Detroit Lions are a playoff team. Going into LA Chargers and defeating the Chargers, I'm telling you, the Lions are legit. I even thought they were legit before week 1. You know, what I saw from last season, the second half of the last season, finishing, 7-2 or 9-2. It was crazy. Detroit Lions will make the playoffs this year, and I hope they play the Cowboys. I would love to see that matchup. I can't wait, man. I want to see the Cowboys-Lions first round of the playoffs. I would love it, dude, because the Cowboys are going to lose. They're the first ones out. I love the Detroit Lions over the Chicago Bears. 47.5 is the over-under. Probably go with the under, but I love the Detroit Lions at home. Jared Goff's going to take off. Take off Detroit Lions. They're back on the map, a playoff team. Let's go! And then we got the LA Chargers versus the Green Bay Packers. I love the Chargers in this matchup. I'll take the 3 points. Green Bay's 3-6 this year. They're on the rebuilding season right now with Jordan Love. Over 2,000 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, and 10 picks. But right now, they need to surround better players with Jordan Love. Coming into this offseason, they got to realize, hey, we need to draft players for Jordan Love. We need to draft receivers. We need to get offensive linemen. We need to add defense as well. So that's what Green Bay needs to do coming into this offseason, because we know Green Bay is going to miss the playoffs this year. That's guaranteed. But the Chargers, this is a must-win game for them. Keenan Allen having a career year this season. I scooped him up in fantasy, I think, in the 5th round. Keenan Allen, 6 touchdowns, 895 yards receiving. He is questionable with the shoulder injury that he had last week. I think right now Keenan Allen is arguably the best receiver right now. What he's been putting up, some weeks he's putting up over 40 points in fantasy, dude. Going crazy. I'm telling you, if he starts, he's a must start. Then you got Eckler. He's a must start as well. And then Justin Herbert, 2,349 yards passing, 17 tutties, 5 picks. I look for the Chargers to really win over 2 possessions this game. I'm saying over 10 points. I love the Chargers. I think this is a must-win game from the Chargers. Losing a big game last weekend, against Detroit, where I thought they should have won. They really should have. They had opportunities. They came up short. This is a week where the Chargers bounce back here. You're playing in Lambeau Field. You're playing against a really, arguably, not a rookie, but a guy that hasn't really had a full season yet in Jordan Love. So I think it's all Chargers here. I love Justin Herbert. I love Keenan Allen. If he plays, go heavy on Keenan Allen. Take off Chargers. 43.5 is the over-under. Probably more towards the over, because I think the Chargers put up over 30 points this game. Take off LA Chargers. Take off Herbert. Take off Keenan Allen. Let go. And then we got the New York Giants versus the Washington Commanders. Giants are 2-8 this season. No Daniel Jones out for the season. Washington is 8.5. I'll take the 8.5. Giants are trash. I feel bad for Saquon Barkley. No quarterback, no offensive line. Really just a terrible organization right now for the New York Giants. They need to really rebuild and hit the reset button this offseason, because 2 wins all season is terrible. It's terrible. Eli Manning, ever since he left, they've been terrible. They really have. So I'm going Washington Commanders. Sam Howell's having a great season this year. 2,783 yards passing, 17 tutties, 9 picks. I'm telling you, Sam Howell is dialed in. And then you got Brian Robinson Jr., a great running back. He's been balling out, 5 touchdowns this year. Terry McLaurin, you got Dotson. Guys that really need to step up their roles for Sam Howell. That's what they need to do. And Dotson put up 0 numbers last weekend. I look for him to have a bounce-back weekend. I really do. I like Washington. I think Brian Robinson is a must-start. I think he's going to rush for a couple touchdowns and run right through the New York Giants. The Giants are not good this year. This is a team where you need to win. If you're the Washington Commanders, this is a must-win game. I could see an upset, though. Such a rivalry game. I could see an upset, but I'm going Washington Commanders at 8.5. 37.5 is the over-under. Probably lean more towards the under. It sounds crazy, but, dude, Giants are trash, dude. They are trash. Daniel Jones, they shouldn't have given him that contract because he's out for the season. He's trash. But I love the Washington Commanders over the New York Giants. And then we got the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. This is a rematch of Week 1 where the Jets won in overtime, which was a crazy sequence. And really, Josh Allen did not have a good game. The Bills are 7-point favorites, and you know what? I'm going to go Bills. I'm going to go Bills at home. Josh Allen, 2,600 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, 11 picks. 11 picks do concern me with Josh Allen. He likes to take chances. He likes to throw with double coverage, and really that's his weakness. It's like, Josh Allen, you have so much talent. Why are you taking some of these risks here? It doesn't make sense to me. Throwing in double coverage, throwing terrible passes where it's like questionable passes where it's like, why? Why do these type of things? I don't understand it, but you got Stephon Diggs, arguably the best receiver in the league with 7 touchdowns, 868 yards receiving. For me, it's all Bills. This is a must-win game for the Bills. You guys are 5-5 right now. Like, you should be over 500, and Josh Allen has not looked good in the first 10 games of the season. I don't know what it is, but I think, the Jets, Breece Hall, 2 tutties, Garrett Wilson, 2 touchdowns. Then you got Zach Wilson with 5 touchdowns, 6 picks. The Jets can play him nice, but the Bills should win this game. There's no excuse anymore. If the Bills lose this game, they will arguably miss the playoffs this year. So that's how big of a game this is for the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. This is a must-win game. I'm going Bills. 39.5 is the over-under. I'll probably go with the over, but this is probably my lock pick. Why is this my lock pick for the Bills? Is because this is a playoff game. You guys are 5-6 if you lose this game. Under 500, dude. Like, second half of the season, you're on the outside looking into the playoffs. You guys had home field last year. Like, that'd be terrible. This is a must-win game for Buffalo, dude. Lock in if you're Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs to take off. I love the Buffalo Bills over the New York Jets. And then we got the Seattle Seahawks versus the LA Rams. The Rams are 1-point favorites. I think Matt Stafford is coming back. If not, they got backup Carson Wentz, who is trash, who did play for the Indianapolis Colts, who was trash. You know what I'm saying? You got all these trash quarterbacks that the Colts got, and it's like Carson Wentz, dude, he's trash, man. But Stafford, 8 touchdowns, 7 picks. You got Puka and Cooper Kupp. Kyron Williams will be back. He's expected to suit up next week. I don't think he's going to suit up this week, so the run game for the Rams won't be as good. But I'm going to go Seattle here. They're in L.A. Geno Smith's having a decent season with 11 touchdowns, 7 picks. Kenneth Walker, 6 touchdowns, 595 yards rushing. Kenneth Walker's a must-start in fantasy league. I was in a fantasy league with my homie James. Shout out to James. He ended up trading Kenneth Walker. And that trade to me just does not make sense. We're talking about a guy who's going to put up double digits every single week for you. That's what you want. You, as a running back or receiver, whatever you are, if you're putting up double digits in fantasy football, that's what you want. That's why you pick these guys up. A lot of people put up single number digits. Like Kenneth Walker is a walking lick here. Double digits every single week. So Kenneth Walker's a must-start, dude, a dog. DK Metcalf, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett has 4 tutties. He is questionable right now with a hamstring injury. That's interesting because he's on my fantasy squad. I'd love to see Lockett suit up because Lockett's one of those guys that's going to go, hey, I'm going to really take off here. I'm going to do different things, get open in different ways. That's Tyler Lockett for you. But I love Seattle. There's such a rivalry here, but I love the Seattle Seahawks. They have a better run game. They have better defense than the Rams. The Rams are prima donnas right now. They're still living off their Super Bowl a couple years ago. They really are, but I love the Seattle Seahawks over the LA Rams. Take off, Seattle. Let's go. And then we got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football. Denver Broncos are 2.5-point favorites. That really surprises me. Even though Russell Wilson has looked good, over 1,800 yards passing with 18 touchdowns and 4 picks. Cortland Sutton, 7 touchdowns. I just think overall, man, Denver being 2.5-point favorites really throws a question mark to me. Is this game rigged here? Does the NFL have a hand on the officials here? What's going on? I don't know why, but the way Minnesota Vikings and Josh Dobbs are playing, I'm going Minnesota here. Josh Dobbs is locked in. 1,995 yards passing with 11 touchdowns and 5 picks. Then you got TJ Hawkinson snapping off 4 touchdowns. Jordan Addison, who I scooped off my fantasy, he's been snapping off this year. I'm telling you right now, I think Minnesota is this game where you need to bet on Minnesota. Why would I bet on Denver, who's really looked inconsistent this year, don't know their identity yet? Right now, Minnesota's on a roll. They're on a winning streak right now, and Josh Dobbs is legit, dude. Josh Dobbs looking like a veteran quarterback, looking like the quarterback that's saying, hey, I'm putting my team on my back right now. I can't wait till Justin Jefferson gets back because I'm going to go even more crazier. So shout to Josh Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings. I love for Minnesota to go in Denver and win by a game-winning field goal. 42.5 is the over-under. Probably go with the under, but I love the Minnesota Vikings with the upset over the Denver trash Broncos, man. Russell Wilson is washed up. I'm going Minnesota. Josh Dobbs going to outplay him on Sunday Night Football. Take off Minnesota. Let's go. And then we got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Monday Night Football rematch from the Super Bowl. Really, I picked Philly to win that Super Bowl matchup, and they blew it. They had some miscues, and really, Philly's the better team. They really are. Jalen Hurts this year, 2,347 yards passing with 15 touchdowns and 8 picks. A.J. Brown over 1,000 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns. I think this is going to be a barn burner. Just like it was in the Super Bowl, you got Mahomes, 2,442 yards passing with 17 touchdowns and 8 picks. His boy Travis Kelce, 4 touchdowns. T Swift's going to be in the building on Monday Night Football. Shout to Travis Kelce, man. Shout to T Swift. We never go out of style. We never go out of style. But I'm telling you right now, I think Philly coming into Kansas City, they're going to set a tone here. So I'm going to go Philadelphia Eagles, even though Kansas City, I believe, should be favorites by like 2.5, maybe 1.5. Really short here. 45.5 is the over-under. Probably go with the over here. I think both teams are going to score high numbers. I think Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes are going to put on a show, just like they did in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was a heartbreaking Super Bowl. Even though I love Patrick Mahomes, I picked the Philadelphia Eagles to win that matchup. They're the better team. They really are, and Philly has the better defense. That's why, ultimately, I'm going the Philadelphia Eagles over Kansas City in Kansas City. They have the better defensive line. They have better defense overall, and I'm telling you right now, this is going to be an epic matchup on Monday night. This is such a coin flip game. I could see Philly losing, but right now I'm going Philly. I'm going Jalen Hurts, and I'm betting on the Philadelphia Eagles defense to put huge pressure on Patrick Mahomes. I can't wait for this matchup, man. Such an epic matchup, but what a week for NFL. Week 11, such a lot of interesting matchups. But like I said, my lock pick all weekend is the Buffalo Bills hosting the New York Jets. This is a must-win game for them. I cannot wait. And then I like the Chargers with a parlay as well. So, interesting matchups all weekend. I cannot wait, man. NFL is back. NFL Week 11. It's the Clouded with Cab show. Let's go!